All right, we're good. Everybody, welcome to the Economic Development Commission meeting for tonight, March 10th, 2021. We have in attendance, let's do a roll call while we're here. Let's just say your name.
Okay, Nick Giovanni.
He's here.
Scott Duncan.
Scott.
Carol Doblinski.
Carol, I'm Luke McNeil, and we have joining us our new project coordinator as well, Mr. Bob Manerick. Excellent. Thanks for joining us today. Everybody's here. That's great. First of all, let's start out by welcoming Nick to the EDC. This is his first official meeting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be here.
You
All
want
of us were here at one time in that spot.
to you want to tell us a little about where you're coming from and what you're here for and who you are?
So, been in the private sector, still am for a while. Mostly technical cloud programming software stuff is kind of where I started. I'm more in a management strategic directive role right now, and I'm looking to kind of make a little bit of difference, contribute to the town and local government. Always been interested in politics and stuff like that, and it would be great to help the town and contribute. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Stoked to have you. Very good. Next on our agenda here, let's discuss what's going on with Mr. Bob Manerick. Bob's resigned from the EDC, right?
Yeah, I was forced to resign by the Ethics Commission. I couldn't hold both, so I took the the project facilitator position, resigned from the EDC. Now, what's funny is if it goes unfilled for 30 days, I can apply for it. Does that make sense?
The EDC role?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could apply back to the EDC, but it just let somebody else, fill the position.
Interesting.
So I don't understand the Ethics Commission. To me, that's not common sense, but I didn't make the rules. The biggest thing with the project facilitator is, three things. One is coordination, two, coordination, and three, coordination and communication.
What was the first one? I missed it.
Basically, it's what I've been doing for the past year and a half, attracting large businesses, large projects, coordinating with all the boards. A lot of that stuff started right here with the rezones. We were active in the rezones and a lot of different things with pushing things through for the planning and zoning boards for usage tables, stuff like that. That's where a lot of this stuff starts, right here in the EDC. My job now is to make sure all the commissions, all the boards are all on the same page. Everybody follows the project through. We do have this 1 million square foot warehouse being proposed. There should be some announcements, some movement to that within the next week. A lot went on today, and there should be an announcement next week. So keep your fingers crossed, keep your ears open. The big project right now is the Blackstone Logistics Center. And that project is across 146, across from Pine Sand and Gravel, directly across. That project is a 650,000 square foot warehouse. We don't know the tenant. It is in 3 towns. Douglas roughly has 20%, Uxbridge has 45%, Sutton has 35%. I know that doesn't add up, but Douglas is the smallest piece. We're working on extending our water line to supply them with domestic water, running a 12-inch line. Domestic water is not much usage. Fire suppression is the big usage. That's why it's a 12-inch line. We have to run it up. With that said, we have to upgrade our entire system along North Street, Northeast Main, and Gilboa. The entire project is in excess of $3 million. I'm working on Mass Works grants right now for that. Coordinating with the planning boards. Tomorrow night we have a planning board meeting. It's a joint planning board meeting with Uxbridge, Sutton, and Douglas. It's run by CMRPC, and and they do a very, very nice job in running those meetings.
That was a good meeting.
Did you,
Yeah, I watched.
if you watched it, it's a very, very good meeting. Stickler for detail, I have to give them credit for that. They do a roll call in Douglas, they do a roll call in Uxbridge. It takes you 20 minutes to get the meeting going, but it's just procedure. The last two meetings, we talked about traffic, and I'm sure that's going to be a hot topic for hours. You know, it's, truck traffic is going to be a hot topic in this area right now, to the point where we have to address what's going to be done to Route 146 in that area. I'll be talking to the MassDOT pretty soon, see if they can even put in a third lane, just a dedicated truck lane, just like they have down in New Jersey. And I know you've been down in New Jersey on those truck lanes on the Jersey Pike.
Oh, of course, yeah.
For the Wawas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking.
I was like, how does he know this?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes more sense.
Yeah. I remember on the screen. So there's a lot of things going on. We've always had a tech review process on the books, seldom used. Since I've been in this position 3 weeks now, we've used it twice already. One was with Family Fuels. Family Fuels is expanding, doubling in their size. We had a tech review meeting with the department heads, and we just had one this past Monday with Flying Goose. Flying Goose has 2 projects proposed for the town.
What is the tech review meeting? What does that consist of?
It's all the department heads, the Board of Health, Police Chief, Fire Chief, Superintendent, Building Inspector, Town Administrator, just to name a few. I'm trying to think, did I forget anybody? Bob Sullivan with the water sewer, all your basic department heads are there for input, and it's in the conceptual stage. It's not before the planning board because that's an official application. So, for instance, Flying Goose came in with these documents. This is what they're proposing. And that is just an aerial photo of their building. It's a conceptual drawing. So we make recommendations like, okay, I think you need more of a turning radius here for a fire truck. Before they submit that to the planning board, and then the planning board would probably ask the same question. So now we're trying to nip that in the bud.
Gotcha.
As a pre-application tech review. And that's what I leveled it PATR, P-A-T-R, pre-application tech review. So when we have these PATR meetings, it's basically giving them advice to now go home, do your homework. Now they come into the planning board, and it's a streamlined, smooth process. We're not looking at a 6-month process. 2-3 meetings. I can't speak for the planning board, but we're trying to do a preemptive strike to make it a better process for the applicant.
It's fantastic.
So Flying Goose was one. Family Fuels, we made a recommendation with them. They had a proposal, they're buying that house, you know where the ice cream stand is? They're buying that house, or they own that house, they're knocking that house down. They were planning on having the entrance there for the drive-through for Dunkin' Donuts, so you didn't circle around through the ice cream people. Well, the comment was made, there's insufficient line of sight difference, because that is on a curve, and that got to be a safety hazard. So that was just one of the recommendations we made. We tried doing a reverse lane in the back, but there's not enough room. But it was just a general discussion on how we can help you get through the process quicker. So you're not tying up our planning boards. Our planning boards can now get down to business and do stuff instead of keep on tossing things back into the pool and continue, wasting their time. So.
How big is Family Fuels going?
From what I saw, they're probably doubling in size.
Oh, wow.
Moving the ice cream stand over. They can't go the other way towards the center of Douglas because their freezers are on that wall, and that's a project and a half to relocate all the freezers, so they're coming this way. And it's a lot more storage. you know, they bought Digger's Liquors, that license is now there, so they don't have the room to put all the stuff on the shelves, very limited. So that's why they're expanding. The ice cream place is not expanding, it's just sliding over to the end of the building.
Yeah.
And then putting storage in the middle.
Good for them.
Increasing the parking lot size, because if you ever went there in the summer, premium parking. People usually park across the street, walk across, which is not really a good safety area anyways. Can't lower the speed limit. It's an act of Congress with Mass DOT to get the speed limit changed. That was one of my suggestions. Let's lower it to 30 in that area. You know, the police chief said really can't do that. We can't do it on our own.
Right.
It has to come from Mass DOT.
Wasn't there another town that just lowered their speed limits through the center and everything?
If you can't, but you're gonna have the blessing of Mass DOT to do it. You just can't do it on your own. You can put a stop sign somewhere as a safety hazard, but you can't speed limits. It's like we can't limit truck traffic because all our streets are public ways. So trucks are now coming to these warehouses through Douglas. That's the new shortcut because Rhode Island has installed tolls on I-95, I-95, Route 146, truck tolls. So guess which way they're going? 395, 16, right through the center of Douglas.
How do we throw up some truck tolls?
We should. We should.
Or at least
You know,
get some
but-
more money to maintain our roads. It's gonna be
Well,
that
it
much more strain.
is, it's gonna rip up our roads. The trucks are just bad for roads. Now, do we build a bypass to get truck traffic off the main street? I mean, that's on the table.
Seems reasonable.
But takes money.
Yeah.
So, but that's basically what I've been doing, providing communication to the various boards, commissions. That's why I'm here tonight, basically, of your commission, keep you updated on what's in the loop right now. So the two big projects are our 1 million square foot warehouse. The MassWorks grant goes along with it, and the Blackstone Logistics Center. We've had a lot of activity as far as approaching the town of Douglas for warehousing, but nothing is readily available right now, just yet. Behind Granutech, we put together the 185 acres. That was one of our first rezone projects back there.
That, I believe, is the parcel you were talking about over by Davis Street.
The one, so the one I was looking at, like, let me back up a second. I was looking at the GIS systems
Mhm.
here for Douglas and trying to understand what do we own, what can we do with
Yeah.
what we own. Over on Davis, there were 3 parcels, it looked like by the high schools.
Yep, we're actively working on one of them right now.
Okay.
With the school committee. The school committee owns those. So
Oh,
we're actively working with the school committee on those right now.
Okay. One of my thoughts, and I don't know what's going on, so we might already be doing this, just reducing friction, which it sounds like you're doing with your the pre-planning board as
Mhm.
well. But I'm not sure if we are able to get any, grants through MassWorks or anything like that, just to do pre-prep work for some of these sites, like, it would be
Oh, yeah,
ridiculous.
that's a whole nother issue right now. We've always thought of MassWorks as a grant. Massachusetts revamped the entire procedure this year. And of course, it's been a learning curve for me, not only for MassWorks, but for the new procedure. There's 10 areas of grants. There's rural, small town, there's infrastructure, there's MassWorks, there's 10 of those. Prior to this year, they had various closing dates. So if you qualified for 2 of them for one project, you had 2 closing dates, 2 different award dates, and it was tough for one contractor to come in and get money from 2 separate areas at 2 separate times. And that was the biggest complaint. So what the Baker-Polito administration did was throw everything into one bucket, and they call it the Community One Stop for Growth Program. of which MassWorks is one of them, one of the 10. So everything's in the same bucket. Last year, the submit date was in August. This year, and for every year forward, it's going to be June 4th. So we're working on the June 4th date right now. What they have prior to that is called an expression of interest. It's a pre-application where you submit that, they review it, they get back to you with recommendations, and you can go into one of 6 buckets in one of these 10 areas. They will determine where you go for your money and what funds are available for your project. We have no control over that. Before, you just applied for MassWorks.
Yep.
If you didn't get MassWorks, but you could have got money out of this one, and you didn't apply, you didn't get any money. So now, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we think part of your project belongs in MassWorks, part of your project might belong in rural, and it's all awarded on the same day. With the submit button on June 4th, September, they award the contracts. And that's, I like the way they set it up, but let's just hope it doesn't roll out like the COVID vaccine.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
it sounds great on paper. We're working with a consultant. We've got the expression of interest in it. It was like a 15-page document. It was lengthy, detailed, took a lot of time. But that one's now behind us, so we're just waiting for feedback from them. A lot of competition.
Yep.
So the project for all our water sewer upgrades infrastructure to support these warehouses is probably going to be in the vicinity of $3 million. So we need assistance.
Is there anything that this board can do towards that end? Do you need help researching or filing for grants, or?
That right now is that's in the administrator's position. Hopefully the
That's
town
Matt?
planner- The town planner, when we do hire a town planner, that's being advertised soon to replace Bill. Bill Cundiff resign.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know Bill? February
12th, you said.
12th.
First I've heard of it.
Yeah, he resigned, and he's now working same role in Spencer.
All right, well, best of luck to
So
him.
we don't have a town planner per se.
Mhm.
So MassWorks grants will be coming under that jurisdiction, but we don't have one, so I've been filling in for that, just to get, we can't miss these deadlines. There's a lot of engineering going on right now. If you notice, there's a lot of paint on the streets, and this is all survey work right now for this MassWorks grant. So, I'm surprised you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Well, you didn't know Scott either until, well...
I was watching the planning board meeting, and I'm like, wait, what? So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Took everybody by surprise.
Yeah, well,
Gave us 2 weeks' notice and gone.
good luck, Mr. Cundiff. Thank you for your service. Well, Nick's got a whole other list of things he'd like to touch on today. You want to take us away, sir?
Sure. I guess we can start kind of where we already were, what you brought up.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could Nick speak into a mic?
Oh, that would help, wouldn't it?
It would.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Did you hear me, Carol?
I can hear you good, Bob.
Okay.
Oh, good.
He's not important, though.
So these, it looks like most of them are warehouses that we have going in there. 2 warehouses. One's 1 million, one's 650,000 square feet. Besides your updates to this council or committee, whatever, commission. There we go. I think, yeah. Besides your updates to the commission, is there any way that we can, understand what the plans are? Do we have access as a commission to those planning documents, just so we kind of know what's going
The
on?
Blackstone Logistics Center, once they make the announcement and file their environmental notification form, E&F, and go through MEPA review. Those documents are online.
Okay.
If I can get email address, well, I've got yours, I'll get your address, I can send those documents to you.
That'd be awesome.
It is a lengthy file.
I'm sure.
But what's interesting is at the end, there's all the nice, pretty drawings.
Yeah,
I'll skip to
the
the end
summary.
Yeah, yeah, go right to the end, go right to the drawings. You know, one picture is worth 1,000 words.
Right.
And the first 20 pages is boring. It's just soil samples and stuff that if you don't understand civil engineering, it's a waste of read.
Okay.
Even the traffic study, you know, I like the summary. 1 truck a minute, okay, I can relate to that. But if they go through, so many trucks per hour at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and, you know, I don't need to know.
I love that stuff. I love data and understanding that stuff, so that'll be a
Yeah, I can
good
get
read
those
for me.
files
Great.
to you. Now, as far as our proposed million square, and I use the word proposed because it's not announced yet. Their project is, this one is not. But when we get to that environmental notification file form, then we can release that.
Okay. And that, we don't know who the client is for the,
We don't know who the
Okay.
builder is, we don't know who the client is.
okay.
Now, Blackstone Logistics Center, we don't even know I should say the tenant. The
Okay.
tenant is the end user. We
Right.
don't know who that is.
Who approaches us
Okay.
with those deals if we don't know who they belong to? Who's the person that comes up and says, I'd like to build a warehouse in your town?
A developer, like Kevin Loberso is one developer that we're working on our building right now. He approached the town. He now goes out and gets a builder. Once they get on a list, and there's a registry somewhere, hey, there's a 1 million square foot warehouse going in Douglas. There's 100 companies out there, they'll start bidding for this thing.
Yep.
But until it's in the construction phase, they won't even look at it. Because their boards, their CEO will not make a commitment until it's actually being built. Okay, I want that building, that's mine. And they're all spec'd out. I mean, you look at BJ's down the street, they're all the same. You drove down New Jersey Pike, warehouse after warehouse.
Oh, yeah,
They're just
right.
cookie cutter. They all have truck docks. They all have twice as many parking spaces as they do truck dock. And they have a gate where you come through and register your truck. I mean, they're all spec'd out. They're cookie cutter operations. So what they do towards the end is they kind of finalize the plans for the inside, customize what they want for office space, and that's all add-on. But as far
Okay.
as fire suppression, that's all spec.
Okay. So don't necessarily, it could be, it could be a warehouse, it could be, corporate space or whatever, it's just sectioned, sectioned out,
Oh, it'll
parceled
be a
out.
warehouse. It'll be,
Okay, okay.
Our 1 million square foot warehouse is being spec'd out for truck docks right now.
Got it, okay.
If there was a railroad line coming through Douglas, they would run a rail right through the middle of it.
No
That's-
kidding.
They're trying to even build warehouses now on rail lines.
They're,
Instead of cutting
Yeah.
down truck traffic,
Yeah.
you roll in one railroad
Mhm.
car, that's about, 10 trucks?
okay,
Just like the canals.
Yeah.
there you go, Blackstone Valley.
Yep.
And so, how do we set up that cadence? So like as stuff comes in and is announced, these meetings are the touch points where you'd kind of, read us into this stuff as coming through, or?
If anybody, once word gets out that Douglas is open for business, we're gonna have people approaching us. You know as well as I do, I was going out and approaching people because nobody was coming to Douglas. We were not
Desirable.
open for business, let's just leave it at that. Why, I have no idea, but it was just, Uxbridge was going, Webster was going, Sutton was going, and nobody was coming to Douglas, And this 1 million square foot warehouse, I went out and got it. It didn't come to Douglas. But I think we will be getting, because we broke the ice now, business will be coming to Douglas. Word is out.
So do we know why people weren't coming here? Is it, did we have an inhospitable?
146, we've got undeveloped industrial commercial land.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of properties in land court that we might take possession of. The 185 behind Granutech, that, once that is flattened, getting all that ledge out of there, that will be a developable site. I understand somebody just bought 43 acres of industrial land off Monroe Street, behind, parallel to 16, it follows the trunk line, the gas line at that point. Somebody bought that, we don't know what they're interested, what's going in there.
We know who it is, obviously. It's got to
No, we
be
don't.
registered, right? If somebody bought it, there's a
No,
record of that?
Somebody bought it. We're waiting to see, get approached by, I was thinking of biological companies in there, like going up in Worcester right now, pharmaceutical buildings, nice, clean industry. Hopefully that's what's going in there. That'd be a great boom, diversify our industrial base, commercial base.
So I'm just looking on the map at Granutech. I know I've driven by it 1,000 times. Now, do we know if the entrance to that would be out onto 16? Would
Yep.
it be, okay,
On 16, there's
Okay.
already a subdivision being planned
Okay.
with an access road to get to the back.
great, okay.
That should be before the planning board here within a couple weeks, hopefully.
Great. And so you said Flying Goose. I Googled Flying Goose. The only thing that came up was the Flying Goose Brew Pub, which
No, it's not a
It's
brew
probably-
pub.
it's probably not the right
gonna be, right on the Webster line,
okay,
right at the top of the hill.
Okay.
If you're coming into Douglas, coming up the hill,
Mhm.
the right-hand side,
Mhm.
where the communications tower is.
okay,
We'll be putting up a cannabis retail,
okay,
a restaurant, and a convenience store, in like a small plaza type of deal.
and that is on 16 going into
Right on
Webster.
16,
Okay,
The first parcel in Douglas.
great, okay.
And then they'll be having a grow facility where the Trump sign is.
That's the Matra line, or that's Flying Goose as well?
That's Flying Goose.
Flying Goose, yeah.
I believe it's Flying Goose, not Natural Line,
Okay.
unless there's a different name, but I thought it was Flying Goose coming
Okay.
in. Now, one of the things we demanded that they leave the Trump sign there. They got some laughter.
Okay, so that kind of clarifies things. So they're going to eat one of our host agreements, and we have, what, 3?
We have 3 for retail.
Okay,
And that's the store where you sell the product.
Right.
We have 3 of those. To be increased to possibly 5.
Oh, wow,
They
okay.
want to see how these 3 go. Now, as far as grow, unlimited. We
oh, okay,
we have 1,000 of them.
Fire it up.
okay.
As many as we can handle.
And would the 5 be in parity with liquor? Would we have,
Yeah, it's
Okay.
tied to the liquor. There's a ratio, the CCC has a ratio
Okay.
that you cannot exceed. That's why I said there's room, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's room for 2 more.
No, I believe there are. It went to town vote a while back, right? And it was recommended against
It
the
was
increase?
bypassed. That one was bypassed, because it was supposed to increase it from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
I think it was bypassed.
Because the police chief
Wanted
had
to
asked,
see how
right?
these went.
okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, a very conservative move.
Mhm. Yeah, he has to deal with the rowdiness if there is any, so,
Exactly. And traffic conditions, accidents,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So I think everybody's kind of looking at these 3 in a fishbowl right now,
Mhm.
see what happens.
And so so we only have one, really, Flying Goose is the one that's definite? Do we have any others that are coming down the pike?
Yeah, we have Z&T,
Okay,
Across from,
Granutech.
Z&T has 2.
Oh, really?
GTS2. One is going up across from Family Fields, and those are the little warehouses near the highway department.
Okay.
And they're presently building right across from Granny Tech right now. That building
Oh,
that's
really?
going up,
Okay.
that's Z&T. That's
Oh.
retail. So those are your three.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So we're maxed out once they open.
Yeah.
Until we decide not to be anymore. We're maxed out until we decide to raise
Now,
the
there
limit.
is one more, I believe there is one more out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's four. Because there was one proposed near my street, Cedar Street.
Let's pull it up.
Forget the name of the company. I thought the, Carol, do you remember who that was?
No, I don't.
So as you're pulling that up, how do we, or can we, fast track the addition of more host agreements? Because, you know, marijuana retail is really hot right now, and if we close it down, we're going to lose opportunity.
Then the market will be too saturated.
Yeah, these,
The market would be too saturated if we sleep on it.
no, the market's already saturated. It's
But
pretty,
they're still coming up. They're still popping up.
they are still popping up, but they're also a year in development already. So it's not like they're
It's
just
a
popping
lengthy
up today.
process. You just won't start one tomorrow.
The other one
I'm
is
not
called
saying start
Dark
tomorrow. I'm
Stream.
saying allow people in, you know?
What do you mean allow people in?
So if we only have 3 licenses, and we have 3 retailers that are coming up, we're considering going up to 5. Are there studies that we can provide to the police department? Because it seems as though they're the main, you know, roadblocks for good reason, you know, that show, like, that alleviate their concerns.
Sure. I mean, those studies exist. We can look at any neighboring town. Pod shops have been around for years now, and there's, plenty of data there to support, I guess, whatever view you're looking to support.
Yeah, they get a bad rap when they first started in
Right.
Leicester because you attracted the whole
Yeah.
state. I mean, they were busing people in from a remote site.
Yeah.
Those conditions don't exist anymore.
Right. The one that we were looking for is Dark Stream.
Okay.
That's the
Dark Stream,
other.
never heard of them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're about. It's an adult use license. Yep. Looks like an HCA. So there's a bunch of HCAs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have an MOU with Resonate.
MOU.
7. Yeah, there's a bunch. Medicinal alternatives.
Okay.
We have.
That's no longer,
That's no longer a thing.
that's Resonate.
That's Resonate. Then we have Resonate. There's the 2 old HCAs for Resonate, and then a new one for Resonate. There's Z&T, Messis, the other Z&T, Darkstream, Flying Goose, and Matcherline.
All right, and those are retail,
Matcherline is cultivation.
cultivation.
The rest are retail.
Okay. The other thing I understand is the host agreement process is lengthy and arduous and somewhat expensive. Is there anything that we can do as a town to help support them, lower friction, that kind of stuff?
No, it's.
That's a state thing.
It's a state thing,
With the
okay.
CCC, and
Okay.
I wouldn't even want to entertain that thought.
Okay, fair enough. So besides marijuana and other things, do we have any other, and warehouses, do we have any other, like, key verticals that we're trying to target?
We were trying to target a car wash a while back.
Yeah, that just fell on deaf ears. I think Shell Station, if you're not aware, Shell Station is
expanding.
their plans to double size. I would think a car wash is going in there, which
Yep.
would just take care of our car wash. We had the correct location, we rezoned it, again, another rezone we did, because that was,
Resident.
was it RA? I can't remember what it was. I think it was residential, I think it was RA, we rezoned it industrial to make anything south of Gilboa, all industrial. Just for simplicity and to get a car wash in there by right. That land is not really conducive right there. It's, I don't want to say an old dump, but it was a dumping ground.
Okay.
For somebody to build on there, structurally, it's not something you want to build on.
Okay. So if it was an old dump, there are grants, brownfield,
Yep,
that we can
all aware of
potentially.
that.
Yep.
That's part of this new one community, one-stop for growth program.
Yep.
Brownfields are in there.
Okay.
It's one of the areas.
That's great.
Yeah.
So talking about grants, if we come across something, are you the go-to guy for like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
are we doing anything
basically,
with
yes,
this?
no,
Okay.
Until we get a town plan.
Okay. Okay.
You looking for a promotion?
I just want to retire. This was only supposed to be a 3-year project, and it turned out I got,
Roped in.
last year, they took me for the second 3-year term.
And we're all better off for it. Thank you,
Mhm.
sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Evolved into a position.
Does anybody else have any other business? Nick, you got anything else you'd like to ask?
I have a whole list, but we're pushing on an hour. I guess.
It's fine.
That's
Okay.
fine, that's what we're here for.
Okay. So one thing that I was kind of thinking of, this is like when I first joined, before we had a first meeting or whatever, you're like, hey, there are these grants that are available to businesses. Can you guys help reach out? I honestly didn't even know where to start. Yes, I can start walking in, Gregory's and whatever is, down in the town center and stuff like that. But do we have like a list of local businesses?
We do.
We do, okay. How do I get access to that?
The copy of it that I have is pretty old, I think. We
Okay.
probably want to, I don't know how frequently it's updated, but I think we would get that from Maria? The newest one?
It would be Maria, because she's
Maria LaJoy?
with building.
Okay.
It's not the building department, it's the building,
Div-
BBC.
I'm not sure what it's called. Yeah, exactly. I can send you the copy that I have that's a few years out of date. It's still got most of the businesses.
Okay. And there has to be like a licensing agency or something like that where, people are like, oh, I want to do business in town. How do we hook into that process in the front end so we have a constantly updated list? And we might not know that answer now, but I'm just thinking.
I don't know that there is that ingest point right now. It's
Really?
it would probably be our town clerk.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, town
Okay.
clerk for starters.
Okay.
But I agree, there should be a clear ingestion point where all the new kind of queries come in.
What license is required if you're gonna run a dog shop,
Right.
kennel? What licenses are required? That I don't know. Board of Health might be a good place for that
Okay.
too. If it's like barber shops, restaurants, Board of Health is definitely involved.
Okay.
Board of Health is on that team, by the way, the TABR team.
Okay, good.
Okay. So will you send that over to me, or should I ping Maria, or for the?
I'll send you the one that I've got.
Okay.
For a newer version, I'd say ping Maria, yeah.
Okay.
You probably guys should probably maybe once a month pick 5 names and just go out there and call them, you in business? Yes, you in business? No.
Yeah.
Try to, update the list yourself.
Yeah. That's.
I actually have done a fair bit of that already.
Okay.
Through the last round of grants we went through. We didn't select every sector, but I kept track of everybody that was no longer in business and crossed them off the list. So we have that.
Yeah. And we put the sign up, that flashing sign.
Mhm.
How many people read it, I have no idea.
Oh, probably a ton. Everybody read it. I read anything that's out there.
Oh, out by like the road sign.
The roadside
Yeah, yeah.
outside.
Yeah, right outside the highway department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at the town meeting, otherwise we would have had it on the fire station meeting board there, but they had a town meeting.
Right.
Special town meeting advertised.
Right, we can't force people to apply for grants. It's not always a straightforward process.
No,
All we
right.
can do is let them know that they, are there. A lot of what I found from just calling them is they thought it was a scam. Yeah, right,
And
free
that's the
money.
big thing right now. I know, Scott, you ran into that too.
Oh, man.
You've got your business cards. It helps to go in person, knock on a door, show them your business cards, like a police badge.
Yeah,
if you
right.
will. And they know you're not a scam.
Yeah, but the vast majority of these businesses don't have a street address. They're not,
Right.
they're at somebody's house.
And you have to go to a business house, you know. You guys work, so you'd have to do it at night. If they're closed, then there's that breakdown in communication. The restaurants were easy. I went
Right.
to the pizza place.
Downtown's
the
easy.
Restaurants, they were easy. They were open. Plus, they knew me, so there was not a scam.
We also have a better line of communication to them through the Facebook page now, because we've sent them to our Facebook page for all of these grants, and they follow the page. So now we have that kind of
That's
hook.
a good avenue to use, to have a point person in there, one of you is a point person.
Okay.
Did we get any grant money from anybody, for anybody?
We wouldn't know. Who's going to tell us?
True, because they go directly to the grant, they don't go through us.
Right.
Right?
I didn't hear from anybody. I heard from somebody in another town that got grant money, but I didn't hear from anybody in Douglas that has.
I've asked a few people, because I went in there, it's the third time I went in to get any money, no.
It's
So
probably
I don't know.
already gone.
I don't know who got the grants. And we were in conjunction with Webster on one of those grants
Yep.
to get 5 more businesses to qualify.
We also don't know if the applications were filled out correctly or completely or on time. So,
Feedback I got, the applications were cumbersome.
yes.
I've heard that too.
Halfway through, they find out they don't qualify. Now they've just paid an account $400 to get to that point, to find out they're not qualified.
So, obviously hindsight is 2020, but if something like this comes up and it's not necessarily just grants, is there any legwork that we can do as the EDC? Maybe we start walking through the grants and say, all right, here are the, businesses that qualify if you meet X, Y, and Z. So it's not buried in 20, 30 pages of documentation.
And that comes from the CMRPC. That's where we got notice of all these grants. They notify Matt, Matt sends it to, you and I at the time, and then we just spread it out.
It would have been helpful in hindsight to have known about that a month earlier.
Right.
Because we gave them like a week notice.
Yeah.
I mean, once we learn about it, it's already almost too late.
Yeah.
So if we had,
If it's 3 weeks open, we get it when there's 1 week
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
and we're not alone, everybody's getting it at the same time.
course.
So it almost seems to be by design.
Yeah.
It's a scramble.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, let's hope that we don't need these grants again
No kidding.
Yeah.
going forward.
But if they're there, we do want to be able to get them to people.
Right.
We want to help our business.
So
Business.
I'm not sure how to answer your question there. What could we do if we don't already know what the next grant is going to be for? We can't pre-identify.
No, I'm not necessarily saying that. So what I guess, it doesn't have to be grants, but grants are a good example. So let's say it is another grant, just for, the sake of simplicity, because we all know what we're talking about. Instead of, let's say we have 100 businesses in town. Instead of every 100 business going through and doing the grant process themselves, can we as a group or one of us or whatever read through it and be like, oh, here are some gotchas. You have to have under 10 employees. I think,
Oh, yeah, that's what we've been doing.
okay.
Yep. So we read through the last couple that have come through. So we'll read through them, and then we go through the list of businesses and check off the ones that have under 50 employees or whatever. And then we called those ones and just kept track of who was still a business, who wasn't
That
still a
last
business.
grant
Got it.
was
Okay.
1 to 5, 6 to 10,
Yeah.
and then under 50.
But it also had income eligibility.
Right.
Basically.
It had income
Standard.
eligibility requirements and a few other
Very
things.
deeper in.
Yep.
Which, and we can't get into that because we don't know these businesses' financials.
Oh, it was with financial stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily saying that we have to do the level of targeting at that level, but it might be that, we read through it and we're like, oh, it's under 50,
Yeah.
let's say, and then it's like, oh, well, your net, your top line revenue can't be more than $250,000
That's
a year. or
usually
something.
right in the title page.
Okay.
And then there was one was for all females. Any female business owner. Which I read into that picket fence, classic Diane.
It would be great if instead of this spreadsheet that we're passing back and forth, we used some sort of a database that we could share amongst each other and check off, all right, I hit this one today with a date and some comments and stuff like that. But I don't think that it should be taken on by us to create that database or to store that data because it's the town's, right? So we might want to work with cable, or I don't know if cable does that sort of stuff, whoever's maintaining the website, and get a proper database
Yep.
that we can actually store and track.
EDC could update it.
Update the way, I'm talking about implementing a whole new database to store this information, not updating the website.
Because you were doing that at one time.
I've actually never logged into the website before. Brad was doing it.
Brad was doing it, right?
I did talk to Suzanne, and she said that she reset my credentials, but I gotta get with her because I don't know what they are. Nobody ever told me. But a database type system where we could keep all of these businesses and like a CRM
Yeah.
kind of thing,
right.
Salesforce or something like that. There's probably a grant or at least a government discount for a tool like that.
That's a good idea. So how do we?
Trello, maybe, something like that.
MRPC might know something about that.
CMRP.
They've got a lot of data. They've got
Do we-
traffic data.
Do we have a new contact now that Dominique's not there?
Dominique's back, but not in that position.
Okay.
I'd have to talk to Matt and see who the new person is.
CMRPC. I think I was actually looking at their website the other day. They have traffic data and all kind of aggregate. Okay. Okay. They aggregate from a bunch of different agencies, right? Is it, they get stuff from DOT, stuff from Bureau of Labor and Statistics
Yeah,
and stuff
and
like
that's
that?
where, whenever the grant process comes through, it comes through them, and then they distribute it to Central Mass.
Okay.
There's a CMRPC in Boston, Springfield,
Like districts?
yeah, different districts.
So I think we hit on a couple interesting topics that I'd like to explore a little bit further. One is how do we get and maintain that list of businesses in a consistent way, in an accessible way, maybe with a CRM. And then second is how are we, I'm new, I don't know if we have something like this already, distributing tasks amongst ourselves and keeping track of them more than just like in an email. So if it's like a Trello board or Asana or anything like that.
I use OmniFocus for myself, but I think you're going to be hard pressed to get Bob and Carol to log on to something like that.
And that's okay. I mean, even if it's like a Trello or something like that, and we're like, all right, I know Bob has this list. You don't have to log into it. We can just be like, I know you got it. So we have eyes on it. We can.
Are you familiar with Trello or the types of, or like a board, Kanban board? It's basically, well, if you think of like a chalkboard and put
Yeah.
a bunch of index cards on it, you
Okay.
can keep track of different stages of an activity and who's on it, how important it is, just so we can look at a board and see what everybody's doing. But it requires a level of overhead. Somebody has to manage that,
Right. It does.
and everybody has to buy in to use it, or it's useless.
Right. So
Yep.
the five of you, right?
Oh, you're not on the board anymore. It's weird. I miss you already. I'm okay with it. I don't know that we could put town stuff on a public Trello board, or I think that's another thing that we should get through cable or through
Okay.
the town. Just because I don't want to host the town's data. It's not my
No, I
place.
wouldn't want to do it myself.
Yeah, it might be confidential information.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right, we don't want to be putting that on public Trello anyway.
Of course. Okay, so who do you think is the best point of contact? I'll volunteer to follow up on that.
I think Pat Aldrich is probably the best person to talk to. He works for cable. I'm not sure what its official title is,
Yeah.
but he would know.
Okay. So that being said, I can take that as an action item. How do we feel about that? Is that something we even want to do?
I'm for it. I'm all about tracking and accountability and process, yeah.
I know nothing about that. I don't even know what it was.
It's a thing, well, let's just
I
pull it
know
up.
you-
Oh,
I understand, but I don't know.
It's like a chalkboard with like a whole bunch of index cards.
Kinda.
That's how it started.
That's basically what it is, yeah.
People would they'd have,
Just looks like this.
there
There's
we go.
little lanes where you could have, in progress, not started, ideas, and then as things progress, you just kind of drag them across. And everybody, if I'm working on a thing, I put my name on the thing, so everybody knows I'm working on it.
so that the way I envision that, it would be helpful, like, for example, I'm taking this as an action item. You guys can log into this board, you can see, oh yeah, Nick's got this thing or whatever. And then the other way is, if we have to distribute something out to all of our businesses, like the grant stuff, we can track it. We can say, all right, here's the list of businesses we have in town. Here's 100. There's 5 of us. We take 20 each, and we can just track it through that way.
Yep.
So that's the way, I would envision. But it's up to you. I mean, what do you think?
Are you also volunteering to manage that system and act as the product owner or scrum master?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
I will want to get with somebody to make sure that it's, kosher to use in like a
Yeah, we'll have
setting.
to figure out the
of
actual
course.
tool, yeah.
Yeah,
Legal.
right. Cool. And then from a CRM perspective, do we want to, approach it the same way? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might already have something that, they being the town of Douglas, might already have some kind of CRM or an agreement with somebody that makes one.
Okay. Cool. Talked about that one. So this one is about data. We talked a little about that for the CMRPC. What I'm particularly interested in is like traffic data. I'm not sure if we have that. I know some highway departments, they put those little things down there, like the lines that go across the road to measure, how much traffic.
Yeah, the rubber strips.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that in-house.
CMR, no, we don't have that in-house.
Okay.
And CMRPC has that, I know, because the Blackstone Logistics Center, we're going through that right now.
Okay.
They had the data on all the streets around, they know where the truck traffic is on 146. Broken down by the time of day, you get a line with 24 hours on it, you can see the peak at 6 o'clock, dips down, then.
But how
4
often
o'clock,
is it-
Dips back up.
How often is it done?
I believe every 3 years.
Okay.
We had traffic data for Z&T
Yep.
on Route 16.
So,
We knew there was like 4,000 movements a day on 16. I didn't think it'd be that much, but it's a lot of traffic.
yeah, I was looking at the CMRPC, and there are a couple sections of 16. I think it's the spot probably where Flying Goose is going, all the way to, I think, about, probably about Family Convenience, that area. I think it was like 7,500 to 15,000 a day, which is actually fairly heavy. It's more than I would have expected for that area.
It's like pulling out of the dump, out of Rydell Street.
Yeah, yeah.
You sit there a lot.
But I guess,
Go the other way.
Yeah, unless you go
yeah,
the way I go, then I just wait for one car opening, it's to clear both lanes.
but I guess what I was trying to understand is, we have the big attraction is Wallem Lake. We get tons of people. It's actually a problem to, enforce it from the police perspective and so on. trying to understand how many people we're actually getting, during peak season of that versus off-season, and being able to provide that information to businesses so we can say, hey, if you want to open, I don't want to say an ice cream shop because we have a good one already, but you want to open some sort of adventure business, they rent canoes or something like that, this is how much, traffic you can expect to get. It may, to the spirit of being open for business, help people make those decisions.
The state would have that data.
Mhm.
The,
On 16 anyway, and Walton Lake.
DCR would have that.
DCR? Okay.
I would think the police would probably have that too.
You could possibly.
Okay.
Bob, not to change topic or anything,
Please.
what about gas? Have we, to the natural gas, is that, like, what's the deal with that? If they're doing the water,
That's on hold.
I know there was something to do with,
The Douglas does not have natural gas. If you get, there's 7 companies out there that provide natural gas. They're licensed by the Department of Public Utilities, the DPU. They get franchised in a town to sell gas in that town. We're waiting for somebody to come in and get licensed or franchised in Douglas. Right now, it looks like Eversource will be at Blackstone Logistics, running it down to the Shell station. They're on our doorstep.
yeah,
Let's just say it's in the legal department, ready to go before the DPU, and let's just leave it at that, but we're working with them. Because our million-square-foot warehouse is not gonna run on pixie dust. I can tell you that right now.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm sure there's other people in town that would really appreciate.
And you're looking at DeCarroll Mill Complex could use natural gas. Right now, they're heating with propane, very expensive. There's 2 end users right there, 1,000 feet inside our door. Eversource is looking at that, trust me.
Great.
If you traveled up towards Northbridge, you notice they ripped up the roads, they put in I want to say a 10-inch.
Oakhurst, I think it was, is it Oakhurst?
Yeah, it came out of Oakhurst and then all the way to the center by Berkowitz, all the way to the center, right by Carol's place. Did you get gas yet, Carol?
We're not hooked into it yet, but we're looking into it.
Okay, because they're supposed to send some business people out to you
Right,
to inquire your loads,
yep.
what you're using now, and then convert it to cubic feet of gas.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can get it.
Yep.
Fortunately, we've got propane in there now, so it's not gonna be too much to change over the furnaces.
Nope, nope. So they're close. They're close,
The
we're
thing is
just,
too, is, it'd be nice if we get natural gas in town, because now with the green community, you can't put an oil heating system in Douglas.
I know,
It's gotta be propane
the only option now is electric.
or electric heat, exactly. That's it.
Wow.
No, they've been on hold for a while, waiting for the announcement that might be coming next week. So,
Okay.
to answer your question, we got it covered.
So the announcement that might be coming for next week, is that just for those warehouses in that area over there, or is that potentially expanding a little farther outward?
No, that's just the one project,
Okay,
the one project.
okay.
But there's always an announcement that should be coming next week. So
We've been hearing this.
put
for
that
a
in
year.
whenever. It's,
Okay.
Should be coming next week.
A year, maybe 2 years.
Next week.
I've been saying it for a while.
So I'm wondering, like, what's the blocker for them? Is it just the cost and, we're pretty rural, the houses aren't close together, it's going to cost them a fortune to make, like, their ROI horizon is like very far out.
Blocker.
Like, what's stopping them from doing it?
Franchise, right?
This one was just private owners and attorneys. It is just, shake my head sometimes, how it could be simple and it's not. It usually takes, correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, but 1 year when you approach somebody to buy that land to when they start getting permitted. It's just a lengthy process. You get attorneys involved, writing up purchase and sale agreements. They leave themselves all kind of outs. If the moon didn't set on this time at this day, then we can't do this. And it's just, they've got every contingency plan in there. If a hurricane hits Hawaii on a weekend, then we can't do this. I mean, it's just, they cover everything.
But has there been like a common thing, like every time it falls through, is it always X or Y or whatever? Or is it always super different?
Well, we've had a bunch of major projects already fall through, only because landowners and attorneys.
So they don't, is it the landowners don't want to, give up their
You
land?
get somebody who wants to build, they want to build now. So if we get stuck in the court system or, attorney drags their feet, then they just bail out, go somewhere else. And it's not just Douglas. I mean, you look at
Of course,
the
yeah.
million-square-foot cannabis warehouse going in, and that was going to go
Webster.
south.
Oh, Charles.
That started 4 years ago. And they're still not built. I assume they've given up on that project.
The Valley Green Grow one?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it in a while.
I haven't heard anything lately. But there's been plenty of projects, to land one of these things, I think is a good thing. At least it's going to break the ice for us. We need an icebreaker.
We need something. We need something to happen because it just hasn't in so long.
Yeah.
Well, if the warehouses come through, I mean, that's driving traffic, and honestly, it could be great for the local economy too. Like, you can start pulling
Oh,
up retail and all that stuff
big
because you're
time.
gonna have tons.
Think about how many pizzas we could
workers.
sell. So
How
many
many pizzas? Yeah.
Well, that might be the catalyst on the corner of Gilboa and North Street, right?
Maybe.
We've been talking about that for how long?
Is that on the vacant corner?
Yeah, the vacant corner.
Do they just not
Oh,
want
yeah.
to sell that?
That
Wants the right price, right? Which is absurd.
is just in no hurry to develop it, wait for the perfect opportunity. Maybe we can give him the perfect opportunity soon.
Yeah.
Gas station.
So what about the,
Well, that's true for trucks, but you don't want trucks coming further down
They're
Gilboa
going to be
than,
going down that way anyways, across the bridge.
well, that's the other thing. You got a bottleneck on that bridge.
oh yeah, tell me about it. Even just with regular cars, never mind a truck.
Yeah.
Will that bridge even support tractor trailers?
We're talking about communicating with these warehouses to get the word out, to use the major roads, use 146 north-south, use Route 20, the Mass Pike, to get to 395, to get to 84. Don't cut through Douglas. But it's you've got to approach these warehouses and kind of be diplomatic with them. You just can't come in there with a hammer
Of course, yeah.
and tell them, don't use Douglas.
You can. Bob Manerick can. Come in with any size hammer he wants.
Let
Do you know who he is?
So make me go over there.
Before we make any decisions on that posted board or anything.
Yeah.
Let's fill the board and see where everybody feels. Make any decisions on that.
Yeah, we get one position to fill. Is it
What do you-
advertised, by the way?
Where would it be advertised? Are board positions
On our town website.
generally
Open
advertised?
positions.
I'm pretty sure there's something posted unless they just didn't remove the one he took.
Because I thought Suzanne did that. Suzanne would be the one.
I should be able to take care of that stuff too. I just don't know how
And they'll
yet.
make an announcement at the May 3rd town meeting. Usually the moderator gets up and we have Finance Committee one opening. We have Facilities, one position. Cemetery, one position. EDC, one open position.
This is correct.
You showing up in it. Well, both of you, new people.
This is correct, but it doesn't, I don't see that it says there's an opening. You're on here as the Economic Development Project Facilitator, Bob. You're still under the Economic Development Commission.
Yeah, I gotta get my name removed from there.
Will you get your own page?
I don't know.
I'll be your first fan. I'll like it immediately. Business owner information. Doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I was on that. I was trying to see if it would work, and it doesn't. I got excited when I saw it. I'm like, oh, we don't even have to do anything. But,
Boom.
yep.
I'm on the GIS maps on our website. That's pretty
I'm-
much 99% of my Douglas access.
I do that at least weekly. I'm on there. So,
Does anybody know anybody that'd like to fill the position on the board?
Not right this second, but if I run into this person at the gas station again, I'll ask.
You're the only people I know, so that's about it. All right, that being said, do we have anything else to address?
Any more?
I have a whole long list.
You could fire it off all day.
Yeah, I could. I'm good to press pause for now. I've learned a lot. We're already, an hour and a quarter here. I think we got some good topics, and I learned a lot.
Did you have to take positions?
Not yet. I think we should fill the board first and then do it.
Okay.
That would make more sense, right? I'm not opposed if we want to do that now, but
I know we did it last year around this time, so I don't know when you do it.
nobody started yelling at me about it yet.
All right. When they start yelling, probably time to act.
It's usually when I move.
Yeah.
Well, then it sounds like we've had a successful Economic Development Commission meeting. Everybody?
Do you have minutes of the meeting from the last meeting to go over?
I have the previous minutes from Paul.
I know he sent them to all of us as his last official.
Oh, yeah, that was,
Is there a secret message in there for us?
Read the first letter of each line down, and it's going to be a secret message. Help, I'm stuck in a fortune cookie factory.
Here we go. His final act. The minutes for November 4th were reviewed and approved. Bob explained that the fact that Douglas was one of the top 3 selections for the medical drug manufacturing site was an honor for the town. Luke stated the committee members have done significant work in notifying local businesses about small business economic assistance grants. There are additional grants forthcoming. Personal contact is preferred over phone calls. Scott Duncan's an official member of the EDC now. Hi, Scott. We all expressed our thanks for your participation. Bob reported that the 1 million square foot warehouse still needs additional work. The P&S still needs to be signed. It's going to be about a week. The warehouse needs infrastructure upgrade on Gilboa Street, North Street, and Northeast Main Street. It's a $3 million project, and there is need to upgrade to a 12-inch water main. Motion was made to allow Bob to attend the water sewer meeting and act as the EDC representative. Did you do that?
yes.
Did that, and I did 2 more since then.
And Nick recently submitted his application, and here he is now. We expressed our thanks to you for your interest in your application, and then we adjourned at 7:42 p.m. Would we like to take a vote to accept those minutes?
Someone's going to make a motion?
I motion to accept those minutes.
Excellent. We'll have to do it by roll call.
Someone's going to second it?
Seconded?
Okay.
There we go. We have a second. And we'll have a roll call, so let's have,
Scott Duncan?
and then aye.
Scott Duncan.
No?
Aye, Nick Joanidi.
All right, and then Carol?
Carol Douglas, yeah.
Excellent. Luke McNeil? Aye. Our meeting minutes have been accepted, and this concludes our Economic Development Commission meeting for March 10th, 2021. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.